Let me check and see if we are all set. Okay, looking good. If you are watching and you can hear me or see me, then please write a comment in the chat box or in the comments. Let's see. Make sure everything is okay. All right. Oh, I forgot to turn the chat on. Okay, now I'm going to turn the chat on, so you should be able to use the chat to comment on this video. So in the month of November, I'm going to be on YouTube Live doing November news lessons. So I have here a newspaper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an article or some current event from the newspaper, and I'm going to pull out 8 or 10 different phrases, expressions, vocabulary words, and then I'm going to teach them to you. So even though these lessons are all about current events, the vocabulary is going to be something you can use anytime, even if you're not watching the lesson right away. All right, does that sound good to you guys? Let me get back on the chat here. Wow, 63 people watching now. Ah, that's fantastic. Okay, so let's jump in. So the article I picked for today is about immigration and diversity in the United States. So the article basically says that the United States is getting more diverse, but that this diversity is a divisive issue in the election. A divisive issue means it's something that divides people. It causes conflict because some people like it, the fact that the US is getting more diverse, and some people hate it. So a divisive issue is one that divides people's opinions in a very clear way that sometimes causes conflict. Another divisive issue in the United States is abortion. Some people very strongly support it, other people very strongly oppose it. So this, recently, immigration is a divisive issue here. And the article says that in some communities there has been a burst, a surge, or an influx of immigrants. All three of these words, a burst, a surge, and an influx, mean a big increase, okay? And influx, more specifically, means a lot of people or things coming into an area. So if you say there's been a surge in immigration, it means immigration has gone up, or the economy has surged. You can use surge as a verb. That means the economy has gone up. And the article also uses the word influx to talk about lots of people coming into an area. And this issue is important because this year's presidential election is a tight presidential race. Let me explain this expression. So we have the word election, right, which we use for choosing who is going to be the president and who are going to be the leaders and the government, the leaders of towns and cities and states. But it's also very common to use the word race. You might already be familiar with the word race when talking about cars racing or horses or people racing, literally trying to go fast and see who wins. But we can also use the word race when talking about elections. We call it the race to the White House, or the race for governor or mayor. Those are different leadership positions in the government at a local and state level. So we have the presidential race. That means the competition for who is going to win the election, who is going to be president. And the article says that the race is tight. That means that it's very close. The two candidates are both almost equal in terms of how many people are supporting them. So when the race is tight, it's very difficult to predict who is going to win. So this year in 2016, we have a tight presidential race. So in this tight presidential race, one candidate, Donald Trump, has been talking about building a wall and stopping the flow of illegal immigrants, mainly through Mexico. And this message has struck a chord with some voters. Well, voters are people who vote. So in the US, American citizens can vote. We can choose who is going to be president. And this expression, struck a chord with. If something strikes a chord with you, it means that it resonates with you. It makes you feel like someone understands you, or it makes you, it creates a connection between you and the person giving that message. So the article says that Trump's stance on immigration, his position on immigration, has struck a chord with some voters, meaning that his message is being liked and understood and supported by some people. Mainly people who are uneasy about the changes in the country. So this word uneasy, what does that mean? It looks like it's the opposite of easy, but it's not. If you are uneasy, it means you feel just a little bit uncomfortable and just not too happy. It's not a strong emotion, it's not like feeling hate or anger or anything like that. If you're uneasy, it just means you're a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit worried, okay? So that's what uneasy means. It's similar to uncomfortable. The article talks about some sizable counties where there have been a lot of immigrants entering the community. So let's look at this expression. Counties, this refers to an area. So in the United States, we have the whole country, and then we have states. We have 50 states, and those states are divided into counties, which are like regions, and one county can usually have a few cities, or one city and a few different areas around the city. So a county is like an area within a state. And if something is sizable, what does that mean? Sizable means it's fairly big. It's of significant size. Okay, so if you're reading or watching the news and you hear or see the word sizable, it means that something is fairly big, fairly large. It's not huge, but it's bigger maybe than average. Okay, so some areas, large areas in the United States, have been receiving a lot of immigrants. And one of the problems is that, among other things, sometimes the children of the immigrants are struggling in school. So what does this word mean, struggling? That means they're finding it difficult. They're having difficulty. They are having a hard time. So struggling means to experience difficulty and maybe fight to try to do something, but you're just really having a lot of trouble, a lot of difficulty. So some of the children are struggling in school because of English, and they need to learn English, and so it's difficult for them to accompany the class. And the problem with this, according to some people, is that it needs a lot of resources. You need extra teachers and extra textbooks, and so that's why some people are uneasy about this whole situation, because then the quality of the education goes down for everybody. But some people in some of these sizable counties have actually embraced the newcomers. So newcomers are obviously people who are new to an area. They're just coming in recently. And this word embraced, and to embrace someone literally means to hug them with your arms. So you put your arms around the person and express love or affection. But in this article, it's using the word embraced, not literally to talk about people hugging other people, but to talk about people welcoming, accepting, and just fully welcoming the newcomers. So if you embrace something, it means that you fully accept it. You are excited about it, you have no problems with it, and you can embrace a person and welcome them, or you can also embrace, for example, a new law. If there's a new law that in the country that a lot of people like and support and welcome, they're happy about it, then you would say that the citizens have embraced the new law. Okay, so there's a literal meaning for embrace, to hug, to put your arms around a person, and then there is a more metaphorical meaning for embrace, meaning to welcome, accept, and support. So one person who is quoted in the article says that, I'm going to skip ahead to number 10 and then I'm going to go back to number 9, okay? So one person from one of these areas that's receiving a lot of immigrants said that initially he was a little bit worried, but as he got to know the new people, he started talking with them and his kids were making friends with their kids, then some of his prejudices they go by the wayside. Now, this expression, go by the wayside, means that it disappears or it is left behind. So it would mean that he stopped having the prejudice or the racism against the immigrants. However, the article points out that there are some real problems with the cities and the schools when there is a large influx of immigrants, especially illegal immigrants. And so the concerns of the people shouldn't be dismissed out of hand. So to dismiss something out of hand means to kind of say, forget about it, without even thinking about it or considering about it. So if you dismiss something out of hand, it means you don't take the time to listen. All right, so the article concluded by saying that basically some of the residents of these communities have embraced the newcomers. They're happy about all the new immigrants, but they still have concerns, worries, or objections, and those concerns shouldn't be dismissed out of hand. So that means we need to listen. We need to take the time to understand their point of view before completely rejecting it. All right, so that's it for today's English in the News or November news lesson. I will be coming on Facebook Live again several times a week in the month of November. And if you'd like to watch this video again to review some of the expressions, then it will be available on my YouTube channel. All right, let's see how many people are watching right now. We have 68 people online. Well, this is fantastic. I can give a class to 68 people all at once. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, then please like it and share it with your friends. All right, that is all for today, and I will see you next time.